Welcome to the Spread Zone, presented to you by FanDuel. I am Tim McKernan, joined by Anthony Stalter. Anthony, Riz is on vacation, but he did send his picks in, so we will be able to tend to his plays this week as we head into a combination week of the college football playoff and the NFL.
I'm excited. I know you're a big college football guy.
College football guy.
Do you have a sense with how the college football playoff could play out? Because you're dealing with some big spreads, especially in the Tulane and the James Madison game. But do you have a horse that you think you're going to ride throughout this college football playoff?
We have had two common loves on this podcast since the outset of the season.
Yep.
One, a garbage team that would cover the spread, our friends at Starkville, Mississippi.
Yes.
Mississippi State. And then another one that meets the stereotype of great college football teams from like the 90s and the aughts, in that they week in, week out, when they had their starting quarterback, beat the hell out of their opposition, and that's Texas Tech.
Yeah.
But since Texas Tech isn't a brand name, I think they're flying under the radar relative to how good they actually are. Now, the counter to that would be, who have they played?
Right.
And they really haven't played anybody of note outside of BYU. So I'll be intrigued to see what most likely will be a Texas Tech Oregon matchup in the second round, to see how they actually play against a team that I think a lot of people think could win the national championship in Oregon, as they have that prized 5 seed, which means they kind of have a bye, but they still get to play a game, and then they play the least of the top 4 seeds in Texas Tech.
Yeah, that's interesting. You look at the history of Texas Tech, and it's not there. Unless you're talking about
year, Michael Crabtree.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's not even Mahomes.
Yeah.
It's Michael Crabtree. Who's the quarterback? Who's Crabtree's quarterback?
Oh, man. Nice question. I don't have the answer off the top of my head. Yeah.
Cliff Kingsbury was the head coach, I believe, or maybe he was the OC. Anyways, when I think about Texas Tech, it's like, they've got all the elements. They've got a strong defensive line.
Ridiculous defense.
They've got a solid offensive line, good QB. They got more than enough weapons. It's like, why don't you like this team? And it's because, as you mentioned, it's Texas Tech, and we don't have a track record.
And so, running along parallel to that is Indiana going into this season, and certainly going into the playoff last year. Because if you look at what's going on with Curt Cignetti, he's only lost to Ohio State and Columbus and Notre Dame in South Bend last year in the playoff. But I think when Indiana went to Oregon and beat a team of that caliber on the road, that was when people go, okay, I don't care, it's Indiana.
Right.
They did it against a brand name on the road. Texas Tech may be that caliber of power, but they haven't done it against a blue blood brand name anywhere but on the road either. And so if they were to beat Oregon, I think and if they were to beat them badly, I think people would go, man, they might have something here, and they would be playing either Indiana, Alabama, or Oklahoma on that side of the bracket to advance to the college football playoff championship. So Texas Tech would be the one that I would say flies under the radar. Who would you be on if you had to make a futures play right now for the college football playoff?
If you're looking to have fun and cash in on a bigger long shot, I think the two teams that are playing each other in the first round offer some value. That's Miami and that's Texas A&M. I've liked Texas A&M all season, but they've gotten steadily worse. It's that South Carolina game. They're coming off the game, I believe, against Mizzou. Handle business against Mizzou and Columbia. Then go home, and South Carolina had them dead to rights before they had the big comeback. They didn't look great against Texas. Their QB, Marcel Reed, got banged up in that one. Eventually came back. I thought it was an ankle. I thought it was a high ankle sprain, but he wound up playing anyways. And then on the other side of it, you got Miami, who it's like, you don't even know if they're going to be in the college football playoff. Their defensive line is nasty. We know what they did against Notre Dame, but I don't know if I trust Carson back. So it's two teams that kind of have the elements of making a deep run. I don't know if I'd put my hard-earned money on it, but if you're looking for some long shots, I like the team that emerges from that one.
I was observing the way they played out the college football playoff rankings, Anthony, and I saw that they moved Alabama ahead of Notre Dame, which told me that there is a very good chance that they will move Miami ahead of Notre Dame, but they didn't want to keep Alabama out if they lost the SEC championship because they couldn't afford to have the SEC championship cost a team that made it going into the college football playoff. So therefore, at that moment, I fired a futures Miami national championship play.
Good for you.
And it's got a chance to be a real handsome reward.
Good for you.
I think it was like plus 25,000 or something like that.
Okay, so you were also hoping for the Canes.
hoping for the Hurricanes, and I'm not a real big believer in Texas A&M at this particular moment.
I don't think anybody is.
Yeah, and Miami is getting 3.5.
They're like the Denver Broncos of college football.
Yes.
It's like, you keep winning, I don't know how you're doing it.
Yes, I don't buy in. Riz submitted his picks from his vacation. We have to take a look at the week that was on the FanDuel Spread Zone.
You killed it.
I had a bounce back week. It's been rough around the campfire here, but I was able to get to 4-1 last week. I didn't win my lock. I hate that. The Seahawks did not cover against the Colts. Maybe that was too chalky. Maybe it was too obvious. Everybody playing against Phillip Rivers. Sure. And to his credit, he almost got a win in Seattle. Lost that one, but had the Buccaneers-Falcons over. Texas.
It was a nice call.
Texans cover. Yeah, it's a Thursday night. Late in the season, they go over.
Nice call.
Texans-Cardinals over.
Sweat-free.
Eagles minus 11.5 against the Raiders.
Sweat-free.
And Rams versus Lions over.
That was sweat-free too.
As well. That covered at the half.
You had a hell of a week.
So I had a nice hit. You went 2-3, Anthony, winning on the Chargers against the Chiefs. You got that straight up, and you were getting points.
Yep.
And winning on the Ravens, sweat-free, against the Bengals. Patriots and Bills, it looked good, and then the Bills had the comeback. You had
21-0. I was feeling pretty good about the situation, even with Josh Allen coming back. The way they were running the ball, Travion Henderson, I thought, okay, this is going to be fine. And obviously, it was not.
Yeah, and Riz was on the Patriots on that one as well. You had the Packers against the Cowboys.
Another one where I felt, honestly, midway through the third quarter, I felt good about it. But then when you lose Watson and you lose Micah Parsons, it was at that moment the game completely changed.
And we all lost our locks last week, which is very unfortunate. I take pride in the locks. You had the Panthers against the Saints, and I feel like that's the second time that matchup has burned you this week.
It has. Yeah. I don't understand that. You got Tampa down Thursday night. Atlanta does you a massive favor. You're going to New Orleans. You're clearly not taking them lightly because they just beat you in Charlotte a month ago, and you lay another egg. Yeah. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a brutal loss for a team trying to find themselves in the playoffs.
I would have played that game. I still would have played. When they went
trust your process.
Yeah.
I respect
I'm looking at that one. Even when the Saints tied it up, I'm like, it's gonna work out just fine.
And you were laying 2.5, so a field goal would have gotten you home, but alas, it didn't work out. Riz was on the Bengals against the Ravens. That didn't work out for his lock. His one win, he went with the Broncos against the Packers, and he got home there. But he was on the Buccaneers against the Falcons. He was on the Patriots, as I said, against the Bills, and he was on the Cowboys against the Vikings. Riz goes 1-4, dropping him to 45-64 on the year for a 41% win percentage. He is 8-8 on his locks, 50%. Anthony, you go 2-3, but you're still over 500 for the year. 58-57.
This is it. This is the week.
This is the stand. I went 4-1, getting me to 54-57, 49% on the year. I am 9-6 on my locks, 60% conversion. You were 6-9 on your locks, 40% conversion. There is the state of the FanDuel Spread Zone Union as we head into Week 17, sir. It's not where the players want to be. I'll be real candid with you.
Yeah, no, they want to be on the other side of all this.
Yeah, 55% ideally. Riz is staring down the barrel of having a 3 in front of his percentage. So he is getting to work this week, even though he's on vacation. When we come back, we will go through our 4 picks and then give you a lock of the week. That is all coming up in the Week 17 edition of the Spread Zone, presented to you by FanDuel. Welcome back to the Spread Zone, presented to you by FanDuel here. Tim McKernan and Anthony Stalter with you. Riz on vacation, but he did submit his picks for us. Anthony, we've got a hybrid week. We've got college football, the college football playoff, and we've got NFL. I will yield the floor to you. What are you going with out of the gate?
Well, I just dogged them in our first segment.
You going Saints?
I'm going Panthers.
Panthers, you're back for more. I
have been off on Carolina outside of, I think, when they played Atlanta, I took them twice. I definitely took them in Atlanta. They're getting too many points. That Tampa Bay team defensively struggled mightily. I know they got Mike Evans back. They got, Jalen McMillan back. Like, they've got all these receivers. This is incredible. The Bucs are back. Can they run the ball? Can they play good defense? Can they get off the field on third down? Hell, can they get off the field on 4th and 12? They cannot, sir.
No.
I don't like anything about Tampa from a defensive standpoint, and Carolina is one of those goofy teams that seems to win when you least expect it, and when you think you got them all lined up against a bad Saints team, they'll lay down. So give me Carolina +3. I still like the Panthers in terms of how they're playing. I still think they win the division. I felt that way on Thursday night when the Bucs lost to the Falcons. It's time for me to prove it.
Panthers +3 taking on the Buccaneers. Riz, with his first play, he is going with the Chargers, getting 2.5 at the Cowboys. Dallas coming off of a loss against Minnesota. Chargers on a heater, having won at home against the Eagles and won in Kansas City, a play that you were on last week. So Riz is rolling with the Chargers, getting 2.5 in Dallas. My plays, for the most part, are going to be college, but I do have one NFL play. I see the Rams. I watched that game. I was having some real nice daily fantasy success as I had managed to put Puka Nacua, Jameson Williams, and Amon-Ra St. Brown all on the same roster, and they were all going off.
Nice.
I went with Brady Cook as the quarterback, so I was able to afford those gentlemen. And then James Cook went off, as you probably saw, to come back from Buffalo.
Yep.
So I was live there, and I was watching that game. Devontae Adams went out with a hamstring. They say he may play Thursday, as we're talking here today on a Tuesday. And then I thought Nacua got hurt as well. He came back in the game, but he didn't look as healthy as he had, even though he had put up some big yards before that injury. Then you have the quick turnaround in a Thursday night game. The Seahawks, I think people will be maybe a little hesitant after they had to come back to beat Phillip Rivers. It sets the stage for a Thursday night surprise. I will take the Seahawks plus 1.5 against the Rams. Thursday night football, Seahawks plus 1.5 against the Rams. That's my one NFL play this week.
Yeah, I just don't have a feel for that game. I don't know why.
I'm basing it on health and the quick turnaround for the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, I do think the Rams are the better team.
Oh, yeah.
I do think that, Sam Darnold tends to struggle with LA's defense, but that line is perfect. It should be a coin flip. So, all right. I talked about Carolina bouncing back. I've got a bit of a trend going on where I fade Atlanta coming off a win.
That is your thing.
Give me the Cardinals plus 2.5. I looked at the number. Hopefully, maybe enough Falcons public money will come in and we'll get this thing to 3. I obviously feel better about the 3, but I also think Arizona wins this game outright. This Cardinals team has even at 3-11, they've given teams fits. Even last week, I mean, Trey McBride went off. Yeah. Michael Wilson had another touchdown. Jacoby Brissett, they just keep firing. Atlanta's got a really good run defense. Arizona doesn't even try to run, so it's not a weakness strength situation I have to worry about. And again, Atlanta's 1-3 against the spread coming off.
That's an amazing trend.
Coming off a win. I think it's bad coaching. I think Raheem Morris, they're all excited. They're fired up. That was their Super Bowl last week. They're going to lay an egg. So give me Arizona. I'll take the 2.5. But
yeah, you're getting 2.5.
If you got more courage, just
go money line.
Take the money line.
Go money lining. Riz did not touch that game, but he does like the Eagles on a Saturday against the Commanders. Jaden Daniels shut down for the season. Won't have to worry about him. Eagles minus 6.5 at Washington. Eagles coming off of blowout win against the Raiders. He's on the Eagles laying 6.5. And now I go into my college football sweet spot. I'm going to go money lining here, even though the number is only 1.5 as we sit here for the Friday night game, Alabama and Oklahoma. Alabama is minus 118 on the money line, which falls within our parameters. I don't have to give up the 1.5 because I could see this being like a 17-16 affair between these two teams. Give me Roll Damn Tide on the road at Boomer Sooner. Jam Miller returning for Alabama. Not only will that help the ground game against a great run defense, but also the pass protection, which I think is the key when Jam Miller is out. I believe he will be back in there, according to head coach Kalen DeBoer, and that should play a role in Alabama looking like a different team than we saw when they looked so lackluster against Georgia in the SEC championship. Roll Tide setting up quite a matchup of one of the greatest blue bloods of all time against the new money that is Kurt Signetti and the Indiana Hoosiers.
I like it.
At the Rose Bowl. How about that classic on New Year's Day?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
And Alabama's certainly capable. We didn't mention Alabama, but they're certainly capable of making a deep run.
Yeah.
Based on the talent that they have. Kalen DeBoer knows what he's doing. But what version of Alabama are you going to get?
You're going to get the October one, the one that late September went through Georgia and then went through, beating Vanderbilt, Missouri, and Tennessee. You're going to get the one that struggled to beat South Carolina, struggled to beat Auburn, lost against Oklahoma, and got worked in the SEC championship game.
Yeah, I can forgive the Oklahoma loss. You turn the ball over, but otherwise the total yards were there for Alabama. Like everything about that game was good, except for, again, you had too many turnovers. Mm-hmm. I can't excuse the SEC championship game. They didn't show up. That was ugly. And they couldn't just we're just in anyways. I don't think you can look at it that way.
I don't think that was their mindset.
Yeah, so I just think they got worked, and maybe we're sleeping on Georgia a little bit.
That's something to keep an eye on there, because Georgia has looked like a completely different team over the last 2 months. Anthony, you are up next here.
All right. I'm going to flip over to the college side of things as well. We talked about these two teams in the opening segment. Give me Miami plus 3.5 at Texas A&M.
Well, looks like we're riding together, bro.
Okay, I like it.
Riding together.
Yeah, I think Miami, even if they lose this game, I think this is going to be tight. Again, I don't trust Carson Beck, but I think this is a game where Miami's defensive line handles Texas A&M's O-line, and they do wonders keeping Marcel Reed at check. And A&M's defense is good. I don't think it's great, and I don't understand why this line is 3.5.
You think it should be a smaller?
I think this should be definitely at worst 2.5, 1.5. I could see. When I looked at the lines, I like to look at the lines and say, okay, what do I think this is going to be? I had this at minus 1.5 Texas A&M. I don't think there's a huge advantage getting 2+ points, but we did move past the field goal to get the hook. So I really like this play at 3.5.
I am a big fan as well. I think Miami may be undervalued. I think Texas A&M's value has kind of corrected only because of the Texas game. But if you look at their schedule in the SEC, they managed to play the bottom half of the SEC. Somehow, coincidentally, that's who they matched up against. And they had some struggles against some of the lesser teams. They're in there in part because of the favorable schedule, but also winning in South Bend, Indiana, which played a significant role in them getting to where they got in the rankings, where some, before the first college football playoff rankings, thought they might actually be number one ahead of Ohio State and Indiana. Now they're sitting here as a 7 seed, but they have done an incredible job against dual force quarterbacks this year. When they have faced running quarterbacks, they have kept them in check throughout the course of the season, and that is why I am super high on Miami. I would personally take it straight up. We're getting 3.5, as you noted. I like it. As crazy as it is, I think it's beneficial to Miami that, because it's my opinion, the college football playoff did not want to go up against the NFL. NFL's rolling out Packers and Bears and Eagles and Commanders to make sure they let it be known that they're not ceding the territory for those December Saturday games. Right. And so the college football playoff goes, oh God, then we'll put Alabama and Oklahoma on Friday night, and we'll have Miami and A&M, the glamour game, kick off at 11 o'clock to avoid the NFL. We'll trot out Tulane, Ole Miss, and James Madison, Oregon up against the NFL because we're going to get beat anyway.
Right.
It's an amazing little formula to watch play out in sports media. But I think it's a benefit to Miami that they're not going into College Station at night. They get at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing for a road team. I will take the Hurricanes and the 3.5. We're rolling together on this.
I like
it. Anthony, what do you got next?
Do we want to take a break?
Oh no, we got Riz's pick. I'm sorry, because we were together on that one.
Okay.
Broncos and Jaguars for Riz. He is laying the 3. with the Broncos and the Jaguars. Broncos on a heater coming off that win against the Packers. Jaguars absolutely eviscerating the Jets this past weekend. Trevor Lawrence with 5 touchdowns. Riz not sold on that. He will take the Broncos on that one. One more pick for us, and then we'll take a break and have our locks. What is your next play?
I'm going to lay the 21.5 with Oregon.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to be pretty. Yeah. I don't think it's going to be a fun story.
I wonder if there's a number that could get people away from this one.
Yeah. I mean, I thought this was going to be like 28.5 or something, 24.5. It just feels too low to me. James Madison, obviously a great story, but I don't see how they go into Eugene, Oregon and come anywhere close. This feels like the SMU Penn State game a year ago, where everybody's like, oh, SMU, you haven't been watching. They're really good. Mm-hmm. Okay. They go to Penn State and they just get rolled.
Yeah.
The only reason why James Madison is, and they had a great year, don't get me wrong, but the only reason why they're in this college football playoff is because the committee backed themselves into a corner saying you had to have the certain number of conference winners. Yeah. So, again, I think the magical season ends in Eugene, and I don't think it's going to be pretty.
It'd be amazing if we get a game. It'd be the story of the college football playoff if they could go to Oregon, one of the toughest places to play in college football, and keep it close. But I would be very surprised as well. Riz going with the Lions and laying 6.5 against the Steelers. Pittsburgh coming off great Monday night win against the Dolphins. The Lions looking to bounce back after losing in Los Angeles. Lions minus 6.5 at the Steelers. That's Riz's play. And now I'm going to go into the player prop department here for the college football playoff. I think the one thing to keep an eye on with the Ole Miss game and with the Oregon game is style points are irrelevant now. Mm-hmm. And if these schools get up big, do they pull their starters early? I expect Ole Miss to run it down the throats of Tulane, and therefore I will go with K'Wan Lacey's over 126.5 rushing yards. I think he goes high 100s against the Tulane run defense, and Ole Miss just runs it down their throats and then leans on their defense to beat up on Tulane. K'Wan Lacey over 126.5 rushing yards for my play. We have our locks left here on the spread zone. Riz will have his, Anthony will have his, I will have mine when we come back on the spread zone, presented to you by FanDuel. Welcome back to the Spread Zone, presented to you by FanDuel. Tim McKernan and Anthony Stalter with you here as Riz is on vacation, but he did send a pick in, Anthony, and he's going up against me again. Yeah, I don't like it. Rams minus 1.5 at Seattle. That is his lock of the week for this week. Riz 8-8 on his locks so far on the season. You're in a unique dichotomy here because you're leading the overall, but you're last in the locks.
It's been rough.
Yeah.
So if you want to fade me on the lock, here it goes.
It's a disaster.
Yeah. What is 7 and 10 or something?
6 and 9, 40%.
Okay. Again, I look at the lines. I like to set the lines and then look at them, right, and see where I'm.
So you got an edge.
Yeah, and if I don't, maybe I missed something with an injury or something. When I looked at the line for the Bills and the Browns, I was shocked to see it was 10.5 at our partners at FanDuel. 10.5. Give me the Browns plus 10.5.
How about that?
Yeah, this Bills team cannot stop the run at all. And Quinshon Judkins has had a decent rookie year when he's been healthy. I think he can run all over this team. I don't think it has to be a situation where Shedeur Sanders has to match wits with Josh Allen or anything like that. Plus, when the Bills have struggled, that they've struggled to protect Josh Allen, and teams have kept him in the pocket. Well, hello, Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
So you got Myles Garrett on one side, keeping things in check. And the one thing I will say about Shedeur Sanders is, unlike Dylan Gabriel throwing it 2 feet a pass, he'll take shots. Yeah. Now, whether his receivers will come down with it, whether they'll hand it almost virtually to the DB like they did last week in Chicago, I don't know. But he'll take the shot. So I love the fact that the Browns are getting 10.5 as a home dog against a Bills team that has been up and down all season. It probably should have lost last week. I credit them for storming all the way back. That defense is old. It's slow. I think they're going to have. I think there's going to be a game that's going to be a lot closer. I would have taken that 7.5.
God, I have to tell you, as you're talking about this play, you make a lot of sense there because they're going to run the football, which will shorten the game, and then the pass pressure that Myles Garrett's going to provide.
Yep.
I like that play quite a bit.
Thank you.
Browns plus 10.5 against the Bills. Anthony's play, Riz on the Rams minus 1.5 against the Seahawks. I'm going player prop college football playoff. One more time here. James Madison's running back. They lean on Wayne Knight. He's going under the 71.5 yards that FanDuel has set. And
here correlates with mine, so that's good.
Yes, they're just not going to be able to move the ball against the Oregon defense. The game script will be such that they will most likely be behind quickly, and then they are going to have to go to the air. And even when they do hand it to Knight, I don't see him going anywhere. Wayne Knight didn't do much. That one time they played against a, for lack of a better term, real team in Louisville, and that was their one loss on the season. So I do not see Wayne Knight getting even close to 71.5. I would actually explore some alternate line unders on this one. It's just two different sets of human beings when you're talking about James Madison and Oregon. I can't believe it's set at 71.5. It's way too high. Under Wayne Knight, that's the James Madison running back, 71.5 yards. It's glorious, is what it is.
You love it. And
it's glorious.
You've been strong in your locks this year.
Well, I've lost the last two, but I'm 9-6 on the season, and I was digging into this one. The only reason why I wouldn't take Oregon is on the off chance you have some really bad weather there, and they get up like 28-0. And James Madison gets a couple cosmetic scores, and Oregon's just saving their players for the Texas Tech game.
Sure.
That's because otherwise, listen, it'd be entertaining if we had like an NCAA tournament situation where you could have a shocking upset. I don't think that is real likely in this situation in football, where you're talking about 22 starters and 2 deep going out there in these things. There's just such a different level of player. A guy who's third string at Oregon would be starting at James Madison. And that's what you got going up against each other. Plus, James Madison has to go on the road. James Madison is just not going to be able to hang, even though it would be entertaining if they were able to pull it off. But I enjoy... You've opened my eyes on that Browns-Bills play.
Take a look.
Yeah.
10.5.
I'm intrigued.
It's too high.
Yeah.
So hopefully we both can.
Yeah,
hopefully all three of us can.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we could get it going here. Riz vacationing. We hope you enjoy the holiday season, and hopefully you have some vacation time as well. For the vacationing Scott Rizzuto and Anthony Stalter, I'm Tim McKernan. Thank you for watching The Spread Zone, presented to you by FanDuel.
We provide information about sports betting for entertainment purposes only. Please confirm gambling regulations in your state of residence. To participate in sports gaming, you must be 21 years of age or older and be physically present in a state where sports betting is legal. If you or someone you know has a sports betting or gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org for more information and further assistance.